we've got a bunch of different things we're going to do. The first panel is one that we're particularly interested in, especially because the program that we work for, the root tax program, is has so many different grant programs that you can take advantage of. I'm sure some of you have taken advantage of them already. But the one key aspect that one has to keep in mind is, particularly as we not only use that program, but design events that are likely to compete and vie for funding, is how do these events tie into and relate to tourism? A lot of us can write grants and sort of say, you know, sure, here's how. But I think what we're really trying to, I mean, there's real solid interest, I think, certainly from the STPB, the Tourism, Strategic Tourism Planning Board, and trying to think more and more about how events can help generate more tourism traffic. And even as we're having this discussion, there's certainly talks going on about how we redefine and further refine what we mean by what tourism traffic is. So here to talk to us about this today are three of the people who do this almost every day. Tom Knight from County Planning, who really runs the tourism program. Bruce Stoff and Christy Mitchell, who are from the CVB. So, and their job is to generate and manage tourism throughout the course of the year. So, who goes first?
I'm in here, so I can go first.
Okay, you got it.
We're a small enough group to be nice to really quickly know where you are coming from. So maybe you could each tell us if there's one event that you're primarily interested in that you're doing, that you're coming with questions about or ideas to explore here. Tell us your name and what that event is. You want to first step in here?
Sure.
Just so we can kind of get a sense of who all's in the room.
My name is Stephanie Meyer. I'm with the Paleontological Research Institution. We're better known by our two public educational venues, the Museum Theater and the Nature Center. And we do a number of events. This weekend, for example, is Maple Festival. One that we have a new event percolating for next year, a new fundraising event. There'll be some sort of hike and bike. It's still in the works, but I'm trying to wrap my brain around how to figure out one of those kind of big events together here.
And I'm Maya Cantori. I'm also from the Paleontological Research Institution. And just a couple other events for the Night Extravaganza next weekend. This has been a busy couple weeks for us. And we have Wildlife Weekend, and I'm the Director of Visitor Services for both locations. So I get to oversee and help organize all the events. Just learning how to be a better.
Great.
I'm Laura Sancross, and my family owns Little Tree Orchards, and we do various events open to the public. One that's coming up is we do Mother's Tea Blossom Festival, which is like a free event for families, and then I'm looking at trying to plan some kind of harvesty cheese and apple festival.
And there will be blossoms by Mother's Day?
Cross your fingers.
I'm Micah Noterpole. I'm with CFCU Community Credit Union. I do mostly their meeting planning, but I also have a few volunteer opportunities where I'm starting to work with their events, such as SPCA.
Marketplace Fireplace Solutions Network. We are in the process of figuring out how to have larger events in the community to bring awareness to mental health issues and work collaboratively with the community. And so I'm here to see what information I can get.
I'm Guillermo Metz with Cooperative Extension. I'm back here for some reason. But the main event, the biggest one that we do is the Green Buildings Open House in the fall.
Which one?
Green Buildings Open House. It's sort of a community tour of green buildings. And we do it every year. We're thinking of doing it every other year at this point. But
Great. Thanks. I'm going to talk a little about things that you might think about to enhance the tourism impact of your event. First, because you're going to talk about the room tax program a little more in your presentation, so I'm not going to cover that too much right now. And it's a small enough group that hopefully we can just have a dialogue and you can bring your ideas about what you might want to do. We can discuss your events specifically. I have a handout. Just passing that around. I'll run this one back to here. Okay, thanks. So, I mean, not everybody here may be applying right away for a tourism grant, so something to think about is information that I may talk about related to enhancing your event can actually sort of help your event be successful and grow regardless of whether your primary mission is to attract visitors through it. So I'm talking about packaging, things you can do to around structuring your event to enhance its tourism impact, and then also a little bit about some specific events that show us examples. So let's talk about packaging first. This is the CBB's package website. So one way to think about packaging is just to follow a model that some of the properties that are up here have. And it's basically just trying to make it really easy for visitors who are coming to your event to have sort of you do the legwork to kind of put together the hotel stay, the restaurant experience, maybe the tour that goes along with it. And then you actually can, through these formal packages, build that right directly into your registration process. So that's one way to think about it, and that can be really successful. Here's an event, the Cuda Sup Cup, that has some information on where you can stay right directly on their website. They're a program that we've supported. You know, there are several programs that have come along that just sort of get it. This is one that definitely gets it. Part of their packaging is they go beyond just sort of here's the lodging opportunities. And this goes into designing the event, they've actually built a bunch of, they call them suptivities, sup being stand-up paddleboarding. They've actually built a bunch of activities that would be of interest to their audience. They're doing a stand-up paddleboard race out of Myers Park. The race itself is on Saturday or Sunday? I think it's on Sunday maybe. And they, you know, on Friday they've got chakra balancing aerial yoga. There are people who do stand-up paddleboarding and yoga, so it's really popular. So, you know, maybe they would come a couple days early to take part in all these activities. Here they've got free aerial yoga demos on Saturday, free log rolling demos. And then they communicate with their guests about other things too that they can do to really build a community, and so that it's not just like come and do the race and go home, but they're designing their event so that it's a multi-day experience and it's richer. Another event that does that, I just pulled this off the Cuda Trails 50 website. Anybody familiar with the Cuda Trails 50? Our friend Ian Golden over at Finger Lakes Running and Triathlon Company does this one. This isn't like a beautiful website, but he's got, the schedule is impressive. Same thing, it's an event that takes place on a Sunday morning. It's a 50-mile trail run, 14,000 feet of elevation gain and loss in 50 miles. They run up and down Buttermilk and Tremont gorges. And so people, you and I can't do that. But people travel from all over the country. And they were actually the U.S. National Trail Championship for 50 mile last year. But Ian didn't just say, okay, you know, come for the race, and I'm just going to focus on the race. he really thought about how can I build this into more of a tourism draw. So actually the calendar goes all the way back to Wednesday, where he's got a company coming in that's doing like trail running workshops and demos. But starting on Friday, the company's Animal Athletics, open boot camp session in the morning, free group run. There's a running clinic in the evening, Friday evening, at one of the sites of one of the runs. And then in the evening, he's saying, everybody who's going to do this, come on out to Ithaca Beer's tap room. Have a big communal hoorah to kind of start the weekend off right. And then they have Saturday to probably not drink beer the night before we're going to Tompkins. But on Saturday, what do they have? He's actually built right here at Cinemapolis this Trails in Motion International Film Festival that he's bringing in. So this is like an additional event that you know, folks that are again coming for the Q Trails 50 are probably going to say, hey, it makes total sense for me to come to Ithaca and bring my whole family for the whole weekend, rather than just kind of showing up and crashing in my car the night before, running 50 miles and going home. Right? So that's what we're trying to encourage you to really think about, is how can you speak to your audience in a way that, and build more activity around your event to expand it. And if you can get people here during the midweek being Sunday through Thursday night, that's like your golden egg of what we're trying to achieve. Because our room occupancy in hotels we have pretty good occupancy rates on the weekends. And so our opportunity to expand tourism in the community is during the midweek and on certain weekends when we don't have a lot of activity. So part of designing your event is also being aware of the calendar. If you really want to be a tourism event and you want to approach us for funding, the TompkinsFestivals.com has an organizer's calendar that is curated it's right around this time of the year to identify all the major events in the community that you should be aware of as an organizer as you're planning your event. And this, I would imagine the CBB would be able to consult on that too. And we want you, if you've got a choice about when to do your event and you really want it to be about tourism, you've got to really look at that calendar. And, you know, gosh sakes, don't do it on Cornell graduation weekend. We had a bass tournament that really wanted to come here on move-in weekend last year. And, you know, Bruce, Mr. Tourism Guy, actually, it was in a very strange role there. I'm telling them to go away, please.
Yeah, it's tough to turn away a group of 15,000 people because it conflicts with the biggest weekend of the year, but it would have been a disaster to have them here, so we had to say no.
So, I mean, Tom, a corollary to that is the city of Ithaca. If you're doing an event in the city, if they will not approve multiple large events on the same day.
Thank you.
You know, so they've sort of made that internal decision that from just a people and resource position, they consciously won't do that. So you really do have to keep that in mind, otherwise you immediately run into some problems.
Yeah, Tom, if I could interject one thing,
Please,
you're
go
talking
ahead.
about the events Tom was just talking about there with the Sub Cup and the Cuba Trails 50. You know, you think of tourism and you think it's got to be some big, massive thing that's going to fill every hotel room in town, you know, the size of the Ithaca Festival or bigger. But really, I mean, the successful ones here, the Sub Cup is relatively small, the Cuba Trails 50, that's a real niche audience. And you think about it, you know, we're not looking at, for tourism in this county, we're looking at, I don't want to say obscure events, but really niche audiences. And you can have a successful tourism event with 50 people or 100 people. You know, that's what we're looking at here. And all these small little unique items, you know, it could be, you know, maybe it's an heirloom apple aficionado group that goes to the orchard, or maybe it's some unique paleontological or geological group that comes into the museum. But a small group of 50 people, if a couple of them stay in a hotel and it's midweek, that's a great tourism event for us. And what it does, it kind of fills in this tapestry of crazy things that Ithaca stands for. You know, it's all this little educated, obscure, fun, unexpected things. So all these events fit into tourism, and they don't have to be giant.
And I know a lot of talk about hotel rooms and the sample that Tom had shown of the Kugelig Sup Cup where they offered like 3 different room options for hotels where you can stay. That's something that you can work with our team to develop. If you want, I mean, how do you say stay at Hotel Ithaca at this discounted rate? That's something that we can help organize for you. If you give us a call, we can send information to all the hotels across town and say, this group needs 20 rooms and they'll be reserved for you for your, individual groups until about a month out until they have to, release them if they're not sold. But that gives you an opportunity to showcase where they can stay at, potentially a better rate to entice people to come overnight.
Yeah, we do that stuff every day, so if you ever have questions about partnering up with hotels, give a call over to the visitors bureau.
Thanks, guys. So this is the Philadelphia Flying Phoenix dragon boat team. They're from Philadelphia, a group of women who are super into dragon boating. Folks familiar with the Finger Lakes International Dragon Boat Festival? Great event. They have community boats too. So, when they first started bringing in teams, and they were getting funds from us, they saw that, the dragon boat is 30 people. So they were renting buses from people from Toronto and Philadelphia and places, and coming in, and you can kind of sleep on the bus if you're tired, you get really early, or after a long day. And so they were just kind of coming in for the day. And we said, hey, can we really work with you to expand this into more than a single day event, to have a bigger impact on the community and help all these people that are coming from all over, may or may not have been to Ithaca before, to kind of experience more of the community. And so this is an example of an event where you could really think about how to design it around expanding more tourism. So what ideas would you have? What advice would you have for the folks who are organizing the Dragon Boat Festival? How they could get those folks who are coming in their buses to stay longer and have a richer experience in the whole community? Ideas, yeah. Go ahead. One idea we threw out them is, you start early in the morning. Why don't you do a packet pickup party downtown the night before? Or, why don't you work with some hotels to do an after party, maybe at some hotels, and get all the teams together to celebrate the day. Other ideas?
Well, what they did for teachers was nice.
What's that?
What they, just offering a package that they did for the teachers, where they were like, if you could work with certain hotels or bed and breakfast that would offer them a nice night and a dinner.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, put together some collaborations with
Or
different restaurants or
yeah.
businesses.
Or I love that idea of picnicking. You could probably work with one of the larger hotels or eateries that could provide a nice picnic for them.
Sure. Yeah. Something real simple you can do too is just put together a really good goodie bag. Folks are familiar with goodie bags. A lot of events have them. When I go to events, I love coupons, and I'll take the coupon and I'll go to the gift shop, where I can get a discount, bring something back for my kids or whatever, So really, and so rather than just doing a standard goodie bag, you could work with businesses to develop coupons or, put together those partnerships. And especially you want to focus on who's my audience, right? And what would they be interested in? You could do package tours of the wineries, a day after or day before wine tours. Just endless ideas, and you really just need to think through who your audience is, what they might be interested in doing while they're here in Ithaca, and start thinking way ahead of time what you can build into the experience. So.
Don't be afraid to call restaurants and call wineries. I know if it's a Thursday afternoon at 6 Mile Creek, if you had
a complimentary tasting coupon, they'd be happy to have 20 people flood into their winery for, a quick tasting, and they have the potential to sell to those people. So there's always businesses that will want to work with you for those value adds.
So I spoke about packet pickup. This is from the Cuba Lake Triathlon website. They're a group that, they really do the packet pickup up, and they bring it, they don't just, the event takes place at Saganic Falls State Park. They're bringing in, there's about 750 participants to that, a little less than half are coming from out of town. And, triathlons start early in the morning. And so if you're coming from out of town, you're probably going to want to run it the night before, especially if, as an event organizer, I tell you to come the night before and go to packet pickup, take advantage, again, of some of these other activities they're building. And this is just a map of the commons to show, okay, here's where the packet pickup is. And if you're there on the Saturday before the Cuba Lake Triathlon, you'll see the people streaming into the Finger Lakes Running and Triathlon Company. That's a nice way for them, by the way, to support their sponsor. What it also does is it gets people into the downtown and going to shops while they're there, maybe going out to dinner on Aurora Street. I think they do have, things in their goodie bag. And that's a way to really introduce them to the community beyond just, oh, beautiful Saganic Falls State Park. But if you're, that's really the full range of experiences, right, the park and downtown. So that's an example of an event that does a packet pickup really well, I think. Getting people into the downtown, getting here the day before, so that they're staying overnight and experiencing the full community. Let's see, other ideas to think about. You've got them here on your little sheet. I'll stop there and let Bruce and Christy talk, and then we can kind of maybe pull out some of your events and ideas that you may have. I think the bottom line to kind of try to drive home is that, think beyond just your single one event, and really get creative about what you can do to make it a multi-day event, to form partnerships with other businesses and visitor experiences in the community to enrich, that experience for the potential visitors, so that it does become a reason to travel and a reason to stay longer and spend more money ultimately, which helps all of us, by generating economic development. So I'll quicker than you guys.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, we'll do another presentation.
Yeah.
Did you have a question, Stephanie, while they're
I
getting
was
loaded
trying
in?
to figure out, I didn't hear which event this was.
This is the Cuba Lake Triathlon.
We want to get-
Yeah, and you can see this, it doesn't have to be fancy. They just put together, this is the description of their registration packet pickup. They get everybody's email address, and then they communicate a lot with them via email and push them to this site so that they know where to go, and they're told to come to.
Yeah, now these guys are lucky too, because they've got a pretty long track record of getting people into the community. So when they ask for items for their giveaway packet, they get a lot of interest in it. But it starts really easily if you got a small